Welcome into a fresh new episode of Heels on the Diamond, which is presented by Heels on Franklin. It's good to be with everybody tonight. Baseball and softball are, man, they're on a hot start. It feels like both teams on a roll. Baseball sitting at 18-1. Softball sitting at softball is sitting at 18-1. Switching it around on you guys. Baseball, no, gosh, mess with me now. Softball is sitting at 18-1, and baseball is sitting at 12-1-1 on the season. It's good to be with everybody tonight. Going to go ahead and go through my little spill like I do every time. Look, you guys know what it is. We are a grassroots platform. We're a little bit different than everybody. Heels on Franklin is owned by us, not nobody else above us, me and myself, Andrew, Troy, Trevor, Bryn, JJ. We are all in this together. We don't have anybody above this. So what I mean by that is do us a favor, wherever you're listening from, share this out. If you're on YouTube right now, leave us a comment, give us a thumbs up, like the live. It will go a long way. Leave us a comment and let us know where you're listening from. And if you're over on Twitter right now, which we're also streaming in Twitter and a couple of different places, we're live on my profile, all of our three of our profiles, of course, and then also over on the Heels on Franklin profile. Share this out. Give it a retweet. Like it. Do us a favor. It goes a long way in supporting this show. We're all fans. Some of us are alums. I say that every time. It doesn't really matter. We're all just diehard Tar Heel fans at the end of the day. Look, we got a special guest with us tonight. He's no what's the word I'm looking for? He's not shy of the platform. He's used to being on this platform, I guess I should say, right? But Trevor, get in here, man. How you doing, my guy? It's good to be with you tonight.
Doing good, man. I appreciate you guys letting me jump on. I feel like the rookie tonight, making my debut. But I'm looking forward to it, man. I was able to, luckily enough, to get to the Bosch on Sunday. You blessed me with some tickets, Chris. I got to watch the boys play, and I was itching. I was waiting for you to ask me to come on. So I'm glad you invited me on, and I'm happy to be here with y'all tonight.
Good, man. Look, you're on our turf tonight. You're on Andrew. We're all on Andrew's turf, really.
That's right. You always talk about his notes, man, and I finally got to look at them tonight. Chris, every time I talk to Chris, I think he brings up your notes, Andrew. So you are killing it with the notes.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Anytime you want to help us on the football side with notes, we're going to hit you up. So you did a good job, buddy.
I'm not going to lie. Monday is when we usually release Andrew's MVPs for the previous series of that weekend. And he hadn't texted me or, anything. So I was like, man, what's going on with Andrew? He ain't done his notes yet, man. He's usually like lunchtime, I think, at work, knocking out 6 pages of notes. And so I texted him. I said, hey, man, you got any MVPs for me this week? He was like, they're in the notes.
Yeah, just check it.
He's like, just check them. So, Andrew, good to be with you tonight. How you doing, bud?
I'm good. I'm excited. Softball's doing well. Baseball's doing well. I've got people arguing in my Twitter DMs and replies. So I know it's Duke Carolina basketball week. It's coming up. Yep. So I'm excited. It's a good week. It's March. It's warm outside. It's beautiful.
Yeah, Andrew keeps the he keeps the fanfare pretty hot on his Twitter page. It's pretty going over there. I'm not going to read this one out loud, but I thought this was pretty funny. Caleb, our longtime listener of Tar Pit and this pod. So I was actually going to say, it's like Trevor and I are playing on turf, and Andrew is just playing on like Bermuda, like he's playing on the real grass. So we're just in his world. It's good to see Jason, a longtime friend of the Tar Pit podcast, Heels on Franklin, Heels on the Diamond, the whole works. I had the opportunity to go with Jason to a basketball game. Him and his family live up in Pennsylvania. They were coming down, and I didn't have anybody to go to the game with. Trevor wouldn't go with me. Troy wouldn't go with me. Andrew wouldn't go with me. And, it was getting kind of late, too late to ask some other people. So I just said, hey, I know you're in town. Sell your tickets and come with me. So it was good to be with them. It's always good to be with friends anytime you're in Chapel Hill. Look, we got a lot to talk about tonight. Like I said, softball, baseball on a fast start. It's really good to see. It's really been great to be over at Anderson and at the softball stadium. Just a beautiful place, and it's been great to be at the Bosch too, and getting the funnel cake, man. Those things are so good, and they bless it with a little bit of Carolina blue powdered sugar. Even though Andrew doesn't like funnel cakes, which I feel like is non-American. But one of the games I went to, it turned into a puddle cake because it was raining. That was the game that ended in a tie that I have to write out. The one at the end of my notes all the time, and it drives my OCD nuts. But look, as you see at the bottom of the screen, we got a full lineup tonight. We're going to jump right in it as we're already right at 10 minutes in. Tonight's lineup, Moyne recap, which I don't know how much time we really should spend there, Andrew and Trevor. I mean, I'm not trying to, make a joke or anything, but it is kind of what it is with what that series was. You right? 3 games, 3 run rules, back-to-back, first time in program history, I believe it was. I think I saw they put out. And then we got our UVA preview. ACC play kicks off for the Diamond Hills this weekend over at the Bosch. We're going to get into that as well. Some interesting stuff. There's one poll that doesn't have them ranked. See, Andrew, he's playing on the Bermuda and stuff over there. I didn't know this, but one of the rankings doesn't have them ranked, and the other 2 has them ranked, which is kind of interesting. And then we're going to dive into UNC softball. They're off to an amazing start, sitting at 18-1 on the season, finishing 2-1 in their first ACC play, which was against Boston College, and they will be facing UVA as well. Troy, let's get Troy in here really quick in the comments. Troy says, "What up, fellas? Looking forward to the insight tonight, all things Carolina baseball, and shout out to our Carolina softball team, killing it." Yep. So Troy's going to be jumping in here as well in the future. So let's get into this. Moyne recap. Andrew, let's go ahead and dive into game 1, game 2, game 3. I think you feel my vibe. I don't know how much time we really got to spend here. I'm just going to announce it one more time. We're sitting at about 62. Do us a favor and retweet this out. Leave us a comment on Twitter or YouTube, wherever you're listening from. If you have any questions as well, we'll try to get those in. Let's start off with game 1, Andrew. Dive into it. What you got?
Yeah, this was a series that we kind of expected to go the way it did. And Carolina did its job. 3 run rule games. They did what was expected of them. I was a bit surprised, and I put this in the notes, that Lemoyne got on base quite a bit. They got some hits. We saw for the first time, really all season, that a team was able to get to Jason DeCaro. They put a few runs across. They weren't hitting much off-speed stuff this weekend, but they did a fantastic job hitting fastballs. They got to Lynch a little bit. They got to DeCaro a decent amount, Boaz. But, Carolina did what Carolina was supposed to do. A ranked team playing a really – I don't want to throw a team under the bus, but a bad mid-major. They did the job. And I think, in my opinion, the best thing about this series, and we may talk about this here in a bit as well, is how many young guys got experience. Because you never know when there's an injury. You never know when, whatever the case may be. You need a pinch hitter in a big spot against, an ACC opponent. And you don't want a guy who's never stepped foot on the field for you coming in, right? So we had guys like Jadyn Nunez getting some at-bats. Perry Hargett had a good series. This was his first playing time all season. Some of the different pitchers got in there. So this was a series where you did your job. You did what you were supposed to do. For the most part, except for one, I'm sure we'll talk about it, but except for one guy, you stayed injury-free, and young guys got experience. Some freshmen and some guys that are maybe backups generally got on the field, and I think that's going to pay dividends in the long run.
Yeah, Trevor, anything you want to add to that?
I'll just add, baseball is a crazy sport, right? Obviously, you should destroy these teams, and they came in and they did what they should do, right? Which is a good thing. If there's one bad thing, I guess I would say is when you beat them this bad, you only play 7 innings. It's kind of you're cutting yourself short. There was a few innings that they left out there that, maybe some other guys could have played a little more, got a little more experience. So if there's one bad thing, I guess you could say maybe if they could have got a few extra reps. But I was actually listening to Coach Forbes talk. I don't remember exactly where it was. It was another podcast, but they Forbes mentioned, well, one thing with the run rules, because that's what I was thinking at first. That's where my head went. they can do live reps in practice with guys, getting live ABs with their own guys, which sometimes is a lot better than a team like, this weekend. So I guess if that's one thing, that would be one thing that stuck out to me. And then if we're speaking specifically on Friday, like you mentioned, Andrew DeCaro, I really wasn't expecting him to give up anything because he's been so dominant against these better teams all year leading up to this series. But I mean, he gave up 2 runs, but the big thing with me is he didn't walk anybody. So he's doing a really good job with his control, and it's going to be a fun one this weekend. So I think this is a good series to get those bats, get some confidence going. These younger guys that you're going to need to step up eventually. So it'll all come into play and be good for us down the road.
Yeah, talking about DeCaro in game 1 a little bit, Andrew, you had made a good point. I think you and I were texting back and forth about that, and you had mentioned something maybe about the weather potentially and the rain having to do with DeCaro's fastball and then being able to hit the fastball, looking at him having nine hits on him against Moyne in game 1 was a little surprising, like Trevor said as well. Speak to that a little bit. Talk to us a little bit about, maybe why the weather played into the role of them being able to hit his fastball so well.
Yeah, I mean, it's all a grip thing, and again, I'm no expert on grips and release points and any of that, but it was kind of drizzly throughout the day, but it was just a wet, overcast, gross day. I actually forgot about that with it being so nice outside today. But yeah, I just think sometimes with some of your pitches, it's harder to get that grip on there, and sometimes you just have an off day. Somebody on Twitter DM me and they were like, should we be worried about DeCaro? I'm like, look, like Trev said, he cut down on the walks, right? He's gone. I think he had 3 walks in his first outing. I think he had 1 against ECU, and then he had none against Moyne. So he's cutting out on the walks. A guy has a bad day every now and then. And if Jason DeCaro's bad day is still him going out there and getting 5 strikeouts, no walks, and only giving up 2 earned runs, that's still a good day. So I do think the weather, though, played a role just with being able to grip the ball. But it's in my opinion, it's nothing to be worried about with him.
Yeah, I feel like it was when you choose your 3 MVPs, I felt like you had a very hard time here being able to choose 3 MVPs out of this game. I mean, just looking at over the box score here, I mean, and hitting highlights like we mentioned in our notes tonight, Colin Hynek goes 2 for 2. 1 double, 1 triple, 3 RBIs, 3 walks. Owen Hall 2 for 3, double, 3 RBIs. And then you go to game 2. I mean, just more hitting highlights. Here comes our guy Jake Schaffner, 3 for 4, one home run, right? And it just keeps going. Making Winslow, which we talked a little bit about how much of a drop off with the catching spot and of the bat of Stevenson, going to the draft last year. In my opinion, let's talk about this just a little bit. How have we felt, with Making Winslow so far this year? Has there been any drop off in the production and on the defensive side at the catcher position since, Making Winslow has now stepped into this position since Stevenson has gone to the draft?
Yeah. Both guys, if you look at Stevenson last year and Winslow now, both guys have super high on base percentages. They walk a ton. Stevenson led the ACC in walks last year. And, Making Winslow's getting his fair share of walks now. Both are good at calling a game. They call the right pitches. They're good at framing pitches. I mean, sometimes, I look at them like, I think that's a ball. And they pull that glove just right. And they get the strike call. But I'll tell you where I think Making Winslow is actually better than Stevenson. And it's no knock on him. But Making Winslow's arm is one of the best I've ever seen from a college catcher. I mean, I don't know what the timing is, and I need to check that out, but his time from home to like second base when the guy's trying to steal second, or on a snapback throw from home to first, trying to get a guy leaning too far off first. It's like you said, it's elite. It's fantastic. And as good as Stevenson is, I think Winslow is a better defensive catcher. So it's really, not much of a drop off at all. You had elite. Stevenson was elite, and I think Winslow's right there with him too.
Yeah. Do we have any insight? I feel like the answer is going to be no, just because we didn't prep for it coming in tonight. But do we have any, reasoning of why Making Winslow didn't follow over his previous coach to UVA, which we're going to talk to here shortly?
Yeah. I thought about that the other day, and I can try to figure that out. I don't know, because if you go and look at Virginia's roster, I think I was listening to the midweek game against Elon, and one of the announcers, who Carolina's announcing crew is fantastic, by the way.
Yeah.
They are incredible. But it was one of the guys, and he said, yeah, they're basically the Virginia Blue Devils. I mean, literally a third, if not more than a third of Duke's team last year transferred to Virginia. So I don't know why Macon didn't follow suit, but hey, I'm glad he didn't.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, definitely, when we get into talking about the our preview in the UVA matchup, which is coming this weekend for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday over at the Bosch. Trevor, there's one guy though I want to talk about, man, which is pretty. I mean, when I look back, it's definitely kind of interesting, and I chuckle a little bit and smile when Colin Hynek is performing so well on the season. And what I mean by that is that I remember when we did our transfer portal breakdowns, right? And Andrew and I were going through those, and I felt like when it came to substance wise, for him specifically, and Andrew, please don't take this the wrong way or knock you in any way, because I felt like we did our best. It's really hard in this day and age, definitely from when you have players. It's just like football, Trevor, like on the other side, when we have players coming from the FCS or a lower division, yeah, they could have been all conference, all American of this. And we've seen it time and time again where they move up to a stronger division, P4 per se, and it just doesn't pan out. Right. So really it's kind of like a shot in the dark. Right. And so, I mean, somewhat, right. But when we talked about Colin Hynek.
Hynek.
I messed it up again.
Well, by the end of the season, we'll have it.
Hynek. My apologies if he's listening, which he's probably not. But Colin Hynek, just like 5-8 on the season. Trevor, I'm going to ask you this question a little bit, but going back to that, to his transfer portal breakdown, I felt like we just didn't have much to say. And we actually had someone comment on that video is that said, like, y'all should do more research on him. And I just felt like there wasn't much more to find out there on him. And I didn't take that the wrong way. But he said he's going to prove everybody wrong. He's going to prove to the Georgia State coaches that, they're missing out on not just a great hitter, but a defense. But he was hitting, I think, in the 230s, right, at Georgia State. And Trevor,
he was
talk to us a little.
Year.
Yeah, 230 last year. Trevor, talk to us a little bit about the type of performance that we saw from Colin Hynek, not just over this season, but specifically from the series that we just had against Moyne.
Yeah, man. And I'm glad you went to him. So Forbes nailed it with him too. He's got a cannon. He's got a good arm behind the plate too. So I like the additions that we did at the catcher position. And this, I mean, I was looking to career 228 hitter. So, I mean, but he's had 33 homers over 3 seasons at Georgia State. So when I wasn't sure either, I'm glad you guys did the video. I told Andrew, I told Chris before the opening day, I was watching y'all's videos just to get know the guys, because this new era transfer portal is hard to keep up with the new players, right? But yeah, Colin, man, over the series, he had 5 for 8, a homer, a triple, two doubles. So he hit for the cycle over the series, right? Anytime you got a catcher that can get a triple, that's pretty impressive, right? 3 walks, 8 RBIs. So and when you have a backup catcher and 2 catchers, or you can play them in that DH spot, but also you got a catcher that can come in and give the other guy rest. You got a guy that you're not really worried about having a drop off behind the plate, because defensively he's as good as the guy you got in front of him. So that's huge, because catching, man, those your knees. I caught for 2 years when I was younger, and your knees, I mean, my knees still pop just from that. It's a tough position to play. So anytime you can add those, it's nice. And Colin was impressive, man. I'm excited to see what he can do. The staff here at Carolina, they've got a really good job developing guys over the years. So it'll be fun to see what it'll look like at the end of the year.
Yeah, so talking about catching, not only just relieving from giving rest, but also injury. It's really easy to catch an injury behind the plate being a catcher. And I want to ask you guys just kind of a joking question, but have you ever heard about a person being bat blinded, that they try out catching and they're bat blinded?
I went through it at one time.
Okay, so you've heard of that.
Yeah, you close your eyes, you get scared, you close your eyes, and you're looking up, and I caught the ball.
Don't say scared, bro. Don't say scared because I was bat blinded. I wasn't scared. I just kept blinking my eyes every time the batter would swing the bat. Andrew, have you heard of being bat blinded?
I have. I kind of equate it to it's the yips of catching, kind of. Not quite.
I was 9, so I was scared. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was 9 years old back there. I was scared. So,
well, in my sit down with Lily Parrish, I don't know if you guys had the opportunity to watch that, but she, her being a college pitcher, we got into catching a little bit and how important they are to a pitcher, right? And having so many pitchers, it's different for a catcher in such a tough position. We went into bat blinded, so and she said she had never heard of that before, so I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't off by myself somewhere. Right. But catching never worked out too well for me. Andrew, I want to ask you about the freshman, Jake. Give us a little bit about, what you saw from him in only 8 pitches.
Yeah. I mean, he came in and it was game 1 and, was fantastic. I mean, and efficient. He came in for his first collegiate. I mean, this is his collegiate debut. He has not pitched, for Carolina at all. And he comes in and he has 2 strikeouts on 8 pitches, 1, 2, 3 inning. And I don't want to compare a guy to Jason DeCaro because I don't think that's fair, especially to a freshman.
Careful.
Yeah, right. But he had that presence that DeCaro has, that kind of presence, like no matter what the count is, no matter what, how many guys are on base, what the situation is, just you can't see if the guys are rattled or not. Just doesn't show a lot of emotion. And we've seen DeCaro before after a big K or a big play show a little bit of emotion, but for the most part, he's pretty stone-faced. And Cackovic reminds me of that a lot. Just very, very mellow, steady heart rate, no matter what the situation is. And I understand that wasn't a high leverage situation he came in, but for your college debut to go 2 strikeouts on 8 pitches. That's fantastic.
I mean, also not just like, you talk about not being, that big of a team per se or situation for him, but the first time for a freshman taking the mound in the Bosch, right? Yeah.
That heart's pumping.
Regardless of what type of crowd is there, you're taking the mound with the script Carolina across your chest, right? Regardless if that's what they had the jersey. I just kind of said that for dramatics. But you know what I'm saying? Like that's a big deal. It doesn't matter if you're pitching, in whatever stadium it is. If you're pitching for Carolina and it's your first go at it, there's got to be some type of nerves there. So, Andrew, I'm gonna let you go ahead and take this one. Go ahead and give us your third MVP. And I apologize to everybody. I don't have the MVP cards that we put out. I've already the streaming service that we use only lets me put in 10 media types to be shown, and I've already got 10 in here, so I couldn't load them in. But Andrew, go ahead and give us your next one, another big time one shot performance, I guess you could say there from a freshman.
Yeah, this was hard. I think you touched on this earlier. There were so many guys I could have picked from here. I mean, we could have had 7 or 8 MVPs, but I wanted to give some love to the freshmen, to some of the guys who haven't played a ton yet. And I had to give an MVP to Jadyn Nunez. I mean, his first collegiate hit, only his second at bat. I think he got an at bat in a midweek game, maybe a week and a half ago. But his second collegiate at bat, he hits in the 5th inning, knocks one over the left center wall, just barely scrapes over the wall, but it was a grand slam. So imagine you're being able to tell your kids one day, your grandkids way down the road, that, hey, I was a D1 college player for one of the premier programs in the country, and my first collegiate hit was a grand slam. And you could I love it. I know we just talked about pitchers being kind of stone-faced, but for hitters, man, I love a little emotion. I love it when they're celebrating as they round the bases, and you could tell Nunez was excited. And man, that's an awesome moment for. I don't want to say kid because he's a college guy. I don't want to call him a kid, but for that kid, man, that's got to be a fantastic moment.
Did you see that swing photo that they put up on Instagram? I'm not sure if they put it on Twitter, but they had a swing at there's the finishing of his swing, man, and it was just like
perfect form.
But
he's got a nice swing too.
Trevor, I think you had something you wanted to tag on here at the end.
I was going to say, man, I had literally, so like I said earlier, you blessed us with your seats this weekend. The kids were, hey, Dad, the sun's in our eyes. Can we go? Can we go? And the score got up there. So I was like, yeah, come on. It's going to get, it's going to end soon. Let's go. We had just walked out and he hits the grand slam. And so I watched it on my phone. So I was like, oh, man, I missed it.
Those darn kids.
Yeah, but it was a cool moment to watch, man. And he'll never forget that, rest of his life. That's an awesome moment.
Hey, you're better than me. When I take my daughter, I force her to stay to the end, whether it's raining, hot, cold. She's like by the fifth inning, she's like, Dad, can we go? I'm like, nope, stay in here.
Nope,
so
over there.
You're better than me.
She's either going to grow up really loving baseball or hating it, Andrew.
I will say, quick aside. Last year, she went to about 8 or 9 games with me. She loved it.
Oh yeah.
And one day it was a Saturday game, and I was getting ready to leave, and my wife and my in-laws were going to take her to the zoo. We got a nice zoo in Asheboro, and she pitched a fit, had a meltdown, screaming, crying. I don't want to go to the zoo. I want to go to the baseball game. So I think I'm raising her right.
There you go.
Just one last thing, as we have finished off the MVP section, we might have some new listeners, and they may say, yeah, you got to give some love to the freshmen, right? But they didn't go, hit like, Schaffner did throughout that series. And so I just kind of want to explain again how our MVPs work is that, those all lay on Andrew and it's his choice, and kind of how we do it is that there probably is one in there that dominates the series, right? But the other two are and the third one kind of is potentially more of like not just looking at the box score. Maybe they came in a certain situation where they really needed a hit, and Forbes made a sub in at that time, and he gets the hit because Forbes liked what he saw for like matchup purposes, right? Or maybe like, shortstop hadn't got the ball, which that's a bad comparison. Maybe right field or something hadn't got it's not like shortstop never gets the ball throughout the game, but like right field hasn't got much the whole game, and all of a sudden he makes he fills the gap with a diving catch. Like that could end up as the MVP. So we kind of do our MVPs like that, to where it's not just box score heavy. It's more of, looking at the whole picture. Andrew, I'm going to ask you, since you're the one, like we talked about in the beginning, and all the people that's trickled in now isn't going to get it, but with the guy playing on the nice grass, and Trevor and I over here on the turf, do you want to do our final thoughts before we head into conference play, or do we want to head into the Virginia overview and history?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out one thing that I was actually a bit surprised by. So there are 7 guys for Carolina this year who have at least 45 plate appearances. Of those 7, 6 of them are either batting over 300 or they have an on-base percentage over 400, right? So we got a couple guys like Nicholson and Hull who aren't at 300 yet batting, but they're getting on base at well over 400, right? But we got a couple guys. Winslow's getting on base in over half his appearances. Hynek is at 458. Paulson and Schaffner are getting on base a ton. So 6 of the 7 guys, again, are either batting 300 or getting on base or have an on-base percentage of 400. The one guy who does not is Gavin Gallaher. And I don't say this to throw him under the bus. I don't say this because I'll be honest with you. If my life depended on one guy on this team getting a clutch hit, I'm picking Gavin Gallaher every single time. There's a reason he's the captain. There's a reason he's a top prospect. And I think he'd be the first to tell you that so far, and his numbers aren't bad. I mean, they're still solid, but I think he'd be the first to tell you that he's not putting up the numbers that he would like yet. So if we get him going with these other 6 guys, I mean, this lineup has very few, if any, holes in it. And by the time, mid-May, early June rolls around, this could be a scary, scary lineup. It's a great blend of power and the ability to get on base. They don't chase a lot of pitches. They walk a ton. So, man, I'm excited as they progress for the rest of the season.
Man, how about Eric Paulson? Of those guys, man, I knew he had a good glove, right? Defensive player of the year in his conference, but his bat has really surprised me. That's huge. So when Gavin does get going, like we know he can, it's going to be fun to watch those, big 3 together in that lineup.
Talking about Gavin, Caleb says Gavin has a flair for the dramatics. He's an Omaha guy.
Yeah.
Well, if he wants to do 270 the rest of the year and we get to Omaha and he has dramatics in Omaha, I'm all for it.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
But Trev and Andrew, I look at this list and there's something that I felt like that needs to be mentioned. Do y'all look at this 7? What is it? Just see if y'all can figure it out real quick. 6 out of the 7 of those guys are all transfers.
Oh, that's true. I didn't even think about that.
So who do we also need to give some kudos to here as well? 6 out of 7 of those batting at that caliber are transfers.
I mean, honestly, you could
the coaching staff,
yeah, 100%.
So Andrew, I know I like to give you tasks sometime. Actually, this is only my second time. The other one was trying to figure out a name pronunciation, which you did. You told me what it was, and then I still messed it up tonight. The next task I'd like to give you, if you'll accept it, is that let's do one more month, right? So we just started February. Moyne does not count. So let's do the next month and let's revisit this.
Okay.
As transfers, right? Because so what I'm getting at, higher caliber of play. Yes, we did play Indiana. Yes, we did play East Carolina. Much higher stiff competition compared to, what we have faced throughout the rest of the season so far. But I'd like to revisit that at the beginning of the March and see where this list stands. Not that I don't have confidence. It's just that I think, just by glance, right, that we will see these numbers drop a little bit, right? Because I mean, if you have 6 of those 7 guys still hitting those numbers, I mean, you might as well just like book it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's not really heard of. But so I'd like to revisit that and just see where those numbers are, just out of curiosity.
Well, something too is if you look at these 6 transfers that I just listed, the only one that is a transfer from a Power 4 conference is Winslow. And Forbes and his entire staff have done a fantastic job of dipping into the non-power 4 realm, dipping into D2, even D3. I think Madera and Anthony D'Onofrio a couple years ago were both D3 guys. Tyson Bass last year. We got Cooper Nicholson coming up from JUCO this year. So they're able to find these guys that were absolutely phenomenal at their last school and they're being able to realize, hey, I think this can translate to Chapel Hill and to the ACC. And so far, I mean, it's been fantastic to watch.
Yeah. Shout out to Rev over here in the YouTube comments. Good to see you in here. He said he was noticing that this week or today. I think he said transfers are leading on the offense, returners are on the bump. So also speak to this a little bit. We got another comment in here from Caleb that I want to get into. Where'd my comments go? There they are. Here's one more. Yep. Speak to this a little bit.
Yeah. So Chewy's not Tom Chmielewski. He's not a guy that's going to blow you away with this crazy fastball like we see with a lot of the other guys, but he's a veteran who is just a savvy pitcher. He knows when to pitch the right, to throw the right pitch. He knows he's got great placement of his pitches. And I mentioned this, I think 3 episodes ago or something, but he's a guy who, although he may not be the best pitcher on the team, he's one of the few upperclassmen pitchers that can really help these young guys, can help Caden Glauber, can help Jake Cackovic, a Boston Flannery, a Riley Leatherman. And so having him here is huge. I think him and Mateus are both able to really help the younger guys. But he's a very savvy pitcher. And he was kind of up and down last year, but so far this year, Chmielewski's been lights out.
Yeah, back to Rev over here over on YouTube. So I'm totally impressed by the coaching staff for recognizing the lower level players who are impact D1 guys, for sure. 6 of the 7 transfer guys in that list we just named off. But like I said, in a month from now, I'd like to revisit that just for fun. Also, I kind of like weird stats and stuff like that. But hey, look, guys, you ready to go ahead and kick off our first preview, I should say, for the ACC play for the Diamond Hills?
Let's do it.
Let's get in here. All right. So UVA preview.
Got a big one coming up.
Man,
this is what are we going to call them? The Virginia Blue Devils.
Right? Virginia Blue Devils.
Right. You got a coach coming over from Duke. I don't know the exact number. You probably know, Andrew, the exact number of Duke transfers they got, right? So
I meant to put that in the show notes and forgot, but I'm trying to remember what it was.
Yeah. So this is, I mean,
That's one strike.
this is gonna be a fun series, boys. This is obviously, like you mentioned, our first big real test, right? It's gonna be interesting to see what these guys do over this weekend. When you're stepping into ACC play, better pitching. I will say one thing, and I don't want to go too deep, but Andrew, you did a really good job with the notes. There's a couple things that really stand out in the series I think are going to be key. But it's going to be interesting to see. This is Chris Pollard's first, big test at Virginia since he's taken the job there. So it's going to be fun to watch, and I'm excited to see how DeCaro looks Friday. I'm really looking forward to Friday with DeCaro against UVA. It's going to be a good matchup.
It's calling for good weather so
Yeah.
far. I think 75, 80 on Saturday. So
And as it gets warmer, these bats are going to get hotter too.
Yeah.
The ball's going to carry.
Mm-hmm.
So Andrew, as both of you take a sip of water at the same time.
Perfect timing.
Andrew, go ahead and kick it off. Trevor actually kicked it off there for a little bit there, but go ahead and kick it off for us as we preview, kind of like overview, like we do. We go in a little bit more depth about the history and overview of kind of where they're at.
Yeah, so I mentioned to you guys before we hopped on, I didn't realize Chris Pollard's been coaching as long as he has. He's got, stops at, I didn't put this in the show notes, but I think it was Pfeiffer University and then App State, then Duke, and now Virginia. So this is actually his first year in 27 seasons not coaching in the state of North Carolina. But I mean, he's a great coach. I know I'm not on a UNC podcast supposed to hype up a Duke guy, but I really like Pollard at Duke. I think he's a great coach. I think he's the guys that he gets are high class guys. They don't showboat a ton. I mean, he runs a good program.
Andrew, check that comment out.
A game or two from Omaha last year.
Yeah, they were one game away. Yeah. And Rev's got it spot on here. I mean, he's a great coach. I would never root for Duke. But I'll give respect when it's due. And for Chris Pollard, he deserves it. He's a fantastic coach.
Not to sound strange or anything, but I didn't realize either how long he had been coaching because he looks so young.
He does.
Like when you look, that's what I meant by I don't want to sound strange, but that's like what I noticed when I looked at his photo earlier today when I was putting some of these together is that, wow, this guy's young. But then, when I started looking at the notes a little bit deeper and creating the graphics, I was like, oh, he's actually
814 wins. He's getting up there.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and transition to our overview 2 slide. Trev, go ahead and kick this one off for us, just a little bit more on Chris Pollard.
Yeah. So, I mean, as we mentioned, he's coming from Duke, first year at UVA. 2013, he started at Duke, and he turned that program around. He had, last year I mentioned one game away from Omaha. I think that was the most packed I've ever seen Duke's baseball stadium for a game. So that was, different to see. But he's a very good coach, as Andrew mentioned. And there's a reason that, Virginia, they're always historically a very good baseball program. They lost a pretty daggone good coach to Mississippi State. So he's taken over with big shoes to fill, but he's got an impressive resume. And I think that, I hate to say it, but I think he's going to do a pretty good job there. So I'm glad he's not at Duke though. I'd rather him be at UVA than Duke.
Hey, just a little side step here. I feel like I remember, and it got pretty testy there last year at UVA, right? When we went up to Charlottesville.
So they actually didn't play last year. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't that game then.
You're thinking Virginia Tech.
Oh, okay.
That's what you're now. I know we're hyping up Pollard here, and I for VT's coach, Chef, not a guy I care for. Do not like him at all. They're polar opposites. Yeah.
I knew that's what was one of those schools up there in Virginia.
Yeah, VT. Yeah, that game got Forbes and Chef both got ejected, and Stevenson and a couple guys got into it. But that was a fun series because Carolina lost the first game and then came back and won the last 2.
Which if Forbes gets ejected, a lot has had to happen.
Yeah, I was surprised. I think he got ejected 3 times last year. I know at least twice. I think once he was arguing balls and strikes, and it was pretty bad. I mean, it was the ump was struggling. But yeah, he's pretty mellow and pretty low key. So you're right. If he gets ejected, you got to do something to get him fired up.
Caleb says there, YouTube, Forbes got a little animated this week. I mean, so far this year, he's gotten I feel like more animated this year than the past few years, other than being ejected, I guess, 3 times last year. But I mean, the game that ended in a tie due to weather, right? He was arguing with the ump and the field ump there for 2 innings straight because of the foul off of the player happened, I think, twice. It seemed like, and they didn't call it there. So he's Ford's being kind of feisty this year. I like it.
I loved playing for my coach in high school. He got thrown out a couple times, and that fires you up. You love a guy that's going to go to bat for you, So that's good. I love it.
All right, well, transferring over. See, I'm always stuck on transfer because the word transfer is just burned in my skull from this past football season. So many transfers. But anyway, UVA baseball overview. Is this a duplicate? Oh, no, this isn't duplicate. So now we're going into head-to-head versus UNC. UNC leads the all-time series of 192 to 126 and 3 ties. Hey, interesting, 3 ties there. Sorry, I told y'all I told Andrew last episode. That's like, if I see a tie on a record, that's all I can pay attention to now for some reason. I don't know why, because I'm just writing that tie all season long now for UNC, but I can't get it out of my head. So, and then since 1997, the series here has been very even, with UNC holding a 46-43 edge over Virginia. Andrew, I'm gonna let you take it from here.
Yeah, so they didn't meet last year. The way ACC does its scheduling, you don't play every team every season. So the last time they met was 2024. Actually, I think 2024 in Omaha. Carolina won 3-2. It was a defensive game. I remember I wasn't able to watch this game. I was stuck listening to it on the radio, and I remember sitting there in the car. I had my wife drive because I needed to focus on the game, and I'm sitting there like screaming in the car when Carolina went up late and ended up winning the game. But I mean, these are 2 teams that are pretty evenly matched. You've got a team or a program in Carolina that's made to Omaha numerous times. You've got a team in Virginia that won it, not too long ago, won it all. So these are 2 of the premier ACC teams. Anytime these 2 teams get together, it's going to be a fun matchup.
Trev, do you have anything you would like to add?
No, I mean, I kind of mentioned earlier, like Andrew said, Virginia's a historically very good program. This is going to be a good one this weekend. We're going to know a lot after this series. We'll know a lot more about our guys and what we got.
Yeah. Just for time, Trev, I'll let you keep going here for the UVA this season so far.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're right where we're, pretty much we are, right? Right where they expected to be, 10-1 on the year. I didn't know this either. So I'm glad, Andrew, you caught this. Unranked by D1 Baseball, 11th in Baseball America's poll, and 15th by Perfect Game. That's interesting to me, right? That's interesting.
Doesn't make any sense.
I could see it. Maybe you're like right on the borderline, but for them to be 11th and 15 and 2 others, so that's yeah. Coming off 2 series wins against Wagner and VCU, so similar to kind of what we've played competition wise. Nothing crazy there, and I wouldn't have thought with bringing Pollard over, maybe it's his first year, bringing the guys over that he brought with him from Duke, picked to finish 7th in the ACC. I know, ACC is stacked, right? But, I wouldn't have picked them 7th. Andrew, I know you know a lot more about them this year than I do, but just from where Virginia's been over the years, man, that's a good baseball program.
Yeah, I think that that goes to show you how deep the ACC is, because you think 7th, oh, that's not great, but that's a tournament team and probably a top 25 team most of the season. Rev did say, didn't they just get thumped? Yeah. So
yes.
Just a side note, I try to get these notes all done by Monday. So a lot of times the midweek games kind of get left out, but I actually took a screenshot off Twitter and sent it to Chris last night. Charlotte
has been good.
They coached by a former Tar Heel, by the way. But they thumped UVA last night, 14-0. I think they had 17 hits. Virginia only had 2. So last I checked, they were playing again tonight, and I think Virginia had the lead last I saw. But that might be we might want UVA to win one of these midweek games because we don't want them coming in super upset, Friday afternoon.
Well, I mean, we don't have to go too much into depth, but I think that's kind of interesting too. They're playing Charlotte back-to-back games here in the midway right before ACC play. That might potentially play into a little bit for this series as it relates to the bullpen
Yeah, let's
for
let
UVA.
Charlotte come back. And right now it's 8-1. Hopefully Charlotte can come back. Let them burn some arms. Like
Yeah.
8-8. Let's go into extras, fellas.
Yeah, Rev said we don't want them angry, but that's interesting that they're playing. You know, if I was a UVA coach, I'd be pretty upset about that scheduling. You know, two midweek games, definitely this close up to Friday, right? With the bullpen. You know, I would like to know. You know, we should have looked potentially. You know, it don't really matter, but actually, how many pitchers they went through in that thumping. You know, that last night. But anyway, look, we're 48.
Sorry, well, just one
Oh,
other
go
thing.
ahead.
It's interesting you say that because you know Carolina's had double midweek games a few times this year already, but now that we're getting into conference play, we're down to one. The only other time the rest of this season that Carolina has double midweek games is during exam week when they don't have a weekend series. So yeah, UVA's got a gripe here. They're playing back-to-back weekday games against a solid Charlotte team.
It looks like 4 arms already tonight. They've kept the pitch count low, though. The highest guy's at 42, but they've already used 4 guys tonight.
Interesting. Well, look, we're 50 minutes in already, and we got a lot left to talk about. So we're going to have to team up together to go through this. Andrew, since you're on the main screen there and the main guy, whoa, hold on. Y'all know how I am. What's going on? There we go. Not sure what just happened there. Everything just messed up on me. What's going on? Give me 1 second. Y'all talk about something else. Something's going on the screen here.
Hey,
Who's the coach at Charlotte?
Rob Woodard.
There we go.
Rob's at Charlotte.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I honestly, you know, Forbes is still fairly young, but I wouldn't be shocked if down the road when Forbes decides to hang it up, if Woodard comes back to Chapel Hill.
Hey, there you go. 5 guys last night. Shout out to Rev. 5 guys
There we
last
go.
night. Only went 7. So, all right.
Run
look,
ruled at home.
Yeah, run ruled at home. It's gonna be interesting to follow Charlotte the rest of the year to see how well they do throughout the year. They've done well. I mean, that also, you know, don't want to mention that team in red down there in Fuquay Arena too much, but you know, NC State. You know, Andrew, did you know where I was going once I said Fuquay Arena?
I had a feeling that's
okay.
where you were going.
I'm about to get clipped. I don't care, but. Well, I was just gonna say it. You know, they played a heck of a ball game the other night against Coastal. So
State's hitting is man. They as of right now, their bats are playing better than anybody in the ACC, including Carolina. And I hate to say that, man, but their bats are on top of it right now.
I mean, they've had a pretty soft schedule, but I mean, if you hitting that, you're hitting that. You know, it's got to translate. You know, it's going to translate somewhat, right? Just like I want to revisit these players a month later, and I'll say this: the way State's playing right now, they're definitely an Omaha caliber team
for sure.
So, which is saying a lot because a lot of people weren't so high on them coming into this year. But anyway, this ain't State week. I mean, hate week. But anyway, let's get in here to our key players. We're going to have to go through this rather quickly. Andrew, since you're on the main screen, take away AJ Garcia, and then Trevor, I'll get you on your next one.
Yeah, AJ Garcia is a transfer from Duke. He got off to a bad start last year, but he is one of the best players in the ACC, and he is by far Virginia's best player. He only hit what I say only. He still almost hit 300 last year, but he had 57 walks last season, and that was second in the ACC behind only Luke Stevenson. So he gets on base a ton, but there's been no slow start for him this year. He's a D1 baseball preseason first-team All-American, ranked as the 15th best prospect in this year's upcoming draft, the 4th best outfielder. He's hitting 385, getting on base over half his at-bats, 6 homers already. So, you know, he's kind of their version of Eric Paulson, and 11 walks. So this guy is a machine. It wouldn't shock me if Virginia ends up having a really good season if AJ Garcia is in the running for ACC Player of the Year.
I mean, he's built like a machine.
He is. He's huge. I
know that picture is not that big because Andrew had so many notes, but so I couldn't fit a big picture. That's a joke, Andrew. You can smile, but he's built like a machine. Just looking at that photo. So let's go ahead and go to our second player, Trevor. I'm gonna get you in here. We're looking at. I'm just going to say the last name how I see it. Harrison.
I was about to
Didawick.
ask Andrew to help me on that one.
Harrison Didawick.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah,
So
look at me.
Didawick wasn't a transfer, right? He's been at UVA, right?
Right.
Yeah. He came back for. Yeah.
Yep. So I mean, kudos to them for keeping him there because he's a good bat, and he's 364 so far on the year.
Trevor, can I say one thing?
Yep.
Real quick. You're talking about that. I was thinking about that earlier today when I realized that he wasn't a transfer, right? And I'm sure that the coach, Pollard coming in said, "Hey, you got a spot if you want it," and I don't think you pass that up. If Pollard says, "I want you," so I think that's probably kind of what transpired there. If I was to guess, right? So,
yep.
I mean, UVA is a great spot to be anyway, regardless. By putting peak players in the league. So if Pollard says, "I want you back," I think that's a place you go and stay.
Yep. And I mean, looking at it, I mean, he had a down year last year, 225, but 2024, 292. Nothing insane, but anytime, baseball's a sport, you get out 7 out of 10 times in major leagues and you're in the Hall of Fame, right? You bat 300 career, you're in the Hall of Fame. So, that's solid for him to take that step forward so far this year. I think that's probably going to be a confidence booster. I would love that after this series, his average is about where it was last year. That would be nice, right? But he's another guy that's in the outfield. Both of these guys we talked about tonight, 2 outfielders. So they're very strong in the outfield at Virginia. But like I said, I would love to see that average dip this series.
Yes. Yeah. Shout out to Rev. I mean, just in the YouTube, we might need to get him on the show to talk some baseball. I mean, he's dropping the metrics, putting this in here.
Add Rev to the rotation.
Talking about
sure.
Yeah, I like how we use the word rotation there. Very good.
Yes, sir.
All right, Andrew, go ahead and kick us off with Henry, and I'm going to let you say his last name.
Yeah, Henry Zatkowski is another guy from Duke. Again, this is the Virginia Blue Devils. But he's been their Friday guy. He's been up and down this year. He's 1-0, but ERA's just shy of 7, 17 strikeouts, but he's got 9 walks, right? So he's averaging almost 12 strikeouts per 9, but he's walking the guys at a decent clip. So I think this kind of plays in Carolina's hand. A guy who is solid, but has some command issues, at least so far this year. Carolina, we talked earlier, they don't chase a lot of pitches. I mean, I think Gavin Gallaher is really the only one I've seen in the last week and a half that's kind of chased anything. And I think he'll get that fixed ASAP. So I think this plays into Carolina's hand. They're going to have to make Zatkowski throw it across the plate, right? They're not going to, they're not going to bite. They're not going to chase. So he's good, but this is a guy where against DeCaro, I think Carolina has the advantage simply because DeCaro doesn't miss a lot. His command is better, but Zatkowski's not a guy that you can just overlook. He's still holding hitters to 224 average. So he's still, there's a reason why he's a Friday starter.
Sorry, I was responding back to a YouTube comment. All right, yeah, so good stuff. I won't even listen. So my apologies. I was responding to Rev. He says I got a dissertation in my Twitter DM from this morning. So dissertations.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Solid word.
No. It's a solid word, yeah. But dissertation is kind of like a strange word around my house right now with the wife being in PhD school over at Carolina. She's in year 1 and already talking about dissertation, which is like 3 years away. But
it's a scary word.
It is a scary word. So Rev, I replied back. I'll definitely check it out. Trevor, get in here on our last guy here. We're going to be talking about Lucas Hartman, right-hand pitcher.
Yeah, so I mean, Lucas, he's their guy out of the bullpen, right? Already pitched 12 innings this year, 6 relief appearances. UVA's best reliever, 2-0 on the year, 1.5 ERA, 12 Ks. And this is another one which, surprising for me. His walks too. I mean, 5, but the last guy we talked about, and Andrew, you had a really good point in the notes here. I don't want to get too far ahead, but it's going to be, as you mentioned, these guys are going to have to stay patient, right? These Virginia pitchers will walk you, so far this year, they've shown to be a little wild. So if we can continue that, take advantage of that. But this guy coming out of their bullpen, this is their arm. So I would love to hopefully get to him Friday, make him get his pitch count up and burn him for the whole weekend. That would be nice, right?
Yes.
So that's all I got on Lucas.
All right,
Another transfer though, Western Kentucky guy.
Yeah, not a Duke guy. What are they? The Hilltoppers?
Yeah.
Yeah. They got that cool little mascot, the big red blob, whatever he is.
Andrew, I'll let you just finish it off here with our last page, I believe it is.
Yeah. So I mean, it's early, so you got to take these with a grain of salt. But Virginia's currently 8th in the ACC in batting average. They're hitting 305. So, again, solid, but, middle of the pack in the ACC. They're 10th in team ERA, 3.69, but they've allowed the second most walks in the conference. So we're beating a dead horse here. But Carolina, this plays into their hand. A team that's patient at the plate, a team that walks a lot. Carolina, I think, has the upper hand here. And again, Virginia is a good team. So it would not shock me one bit if Virginia won this series. We saw last year, Carolina lost their first 2 series of the year. They lost at Stanford at home and then Louisville at home, right? And they ended up winning the ACC. So anything can happen, but I do think Carolina has the better pitching staff. I don't think any team in the ACC is going to have a better pitching staff than Carolina, maybe Georgia Tech, but our batters and as good plate discipline as they have, I think that's going to be the key here. If we can just get guys on base, get an Owen Hull on base who can steal, get a Jake Schaffner on base if he's available, who can steal and just cause chaos on the base paths and get those pitch counts up, like Trevor said, that's going to be key.
Yeah, jump on them early, right? Jump on them early, make them use some of those arms early in the series, early in the game. It'd be huge.
All right, Andrew, are you friends with Rev on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it? Maybe.
I know we've talked before.
Okay, so he shot me a DM. He says, since Andrew doesn't have open DMs like a sissy, Rev came in strong.
Throwing shots.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay.
He came in strong. He said, you'll get my unsolicited Diamond Hills ponderings. So we'll just go over this. Okay, I thought Rev was going to comment about you calling you a sissy. But just a couple of things. He gave the laugh emojis over on YouTube, but just a couple of things to round it off here. Let's go to an hour and 5 here, and then we'll we'll get into Carolina softball here. Andrew and Trev, what's some of your thoughts around Matty? He mentions, can he potentially still be the closer, right? Since coming back from injury, potentially losing a little bit of velo there and a few opportunities of losing control. What's some of your thoughts around that?
I think the closer role is kind of up in the air. Coming into the season, I would have told you that without a doubt it's Walker McDuffie, regardless of Mateus, how he comes back from that elbow injury.
Yeah.
But we talked a little bit last week. It's nothing to be concerned about yet, I don't think. But McDuffie's been very up and down. He came in yesterday against, who did we play yesterday? I'm drawing a blank now. Whoever we played. Yeah, Elon. And he had 3 strikeouts, but he's had command issues. That slider, guys aren't chasing it like they have in the past. He's lost a couple miles per hour off his fastball. It's nothing to be worried about, I don't think. But I think because he struggled some, it wouldn't shock me if Mateus takes that closer role. Is Mateus your best pitcher? No, but he's a senior. He's a captain. He's pitched in time and time again in tough situations. And I think for a closer role, his mindset of I've been there, I've done that, may be what's best for this team. And he is a really good pitcher. He's not the best pitcher on the team, but he's still a very solid pitcher. But I think just his experience may be why you want him there in that closing role, trying to, lock up the win in a close game late.
I'd really like to get Olin Johnson back. I know he's, suffering and dealing with an injury, so hopefully he can get back too. All right, look, Schaffner in a boot. That was his other thoughts, which, we had on our notes to talk about. I don't think there's any more news on that yet. Let's talk really bleak. I know we said we can go to 105 here on Rev's questions. Even though Rev doesn't follow me on Twitter, but sends me a DM. That's why I didn't see it, Rev, this morning, because I went to my request. But I hit you with a follow, my friend. I'll be your friend since Andrew is a sissy and won't answer your DMs.
I can take it. I'll call me whatever you want. It's okay.
Do you have closed DMs where people can't send you DMs or something?
I guess so. I didn't know it was like that, but I need to go in and double check. So I'll check that tonight.
See, man, look, you're so known for being the analyst of this show when we have thousands of people tune in every night. Every time we do this, right? That's a joke because we have 150 right now.
So many people been knocking
I know.
DMs, man. He has no idea what he's been missing.
Chris will tell you, because when he was trying to, text me and email me about gear for the show, what I needed, man, I was sending him some dumb questions that he was probably like, man, this guy's an idiot. Like technology-based questions that 99% of the people know the answer to. And I was like, do I need this? Does this work? I just turn on the camera, turn on the mic, and I talk. That's about all I'm good for. So,
dude, I love Caleb, bro.
I wasn't gonna post it, but I was gonna say check out Caleb's comment from YouTube.
The girls stay in his DM, so he's locked them.
Bots, maybe. Bots.
Hey, look, I used to stay away from the request section, because there's some crazy stuff in there. But I've had people say like, "Hey, man, I sent you a Twitter message like 3 months ago, and you haven't responded to me. Why?" And they're like offended. And so now I went through and like cleared them all out. And when I see one pop up, I'll go check. And if it's something wild, I'll just quickly get out. So, but anyway,
crazy. We were literally just talking about that last night.
Yeah, we were. Side thoughts on the Diamond Hills, yes. And Andrew did have some wild questions getting started about, I was like, hey, man, you got this type of port, man? I was like, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I was like, man, look, your guess is as good as mine. I don't know what I got at this house. I know my Wi-Fi works, and I know when I turn this microphone on, I can hear things and talk into it. And that's about all I got.
Hey, you got it set up. You're looking good, man. You're looking good. So, did we talk about Schaff? I think we just talked about him, didn't we?
Briefly. So yeah, he was in the boot. He came out of Sunday's game. I didn't realize he was injured. I just assumed they were getting other guys playing time because they were doing that with the entire lineup. I thought
the same. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was surprised, and then I was on Inside Carolina's board, the Diamond Hills board, and there was like 4 or 5 people asking about Schaffner, and I'm like,
which is free. That's open to the public.
Yeah, it's free.
If you want to go and hop up there.
And
I just said that because I just said that just to be clear, so people didn't think that we were sharing, behind paywall info.
Yeah,
right?
No paywall here.
That's free, open. Go hop on it. Participate in Inside Carolina. They also have a weekly show with Coach Forbes. Go check it out. It's a good show. They've also done one with recruiting over there. It's really good. Go listen to it. It's weekly. It's awesome. So what you're saying, Andrew?
So I was, scrolling at work, and I'm like, what are these people asking about Schaffner? Like, I don't think he's hurt. And then he wasn't in the lineup last night. And Grace and Tommy, who run the page over there, the Diamond Hills forum, they weren't answering any questions. And then somebody on Twitter, I'm trying to pull up her name now. She's a good follow, but she sent me a picture, and she was like, she took a picture, paused the TV and took a picture after the game. And in the handshake line, Schaffner was in a walking boot, his left foot, but he seemed to be moved.
Maddie sent you that.
Yeah, Maddie. I was like, Maddie Mateus. Maddie Mateus didn't send me that. Yeah, Maddie. Shout out to Maddie. She sent me that.
Look, Andrew. And, sorry, I'll stop.
I was, hey, that'd be cool if Maddie Mateus.
Yeah, he's sitting you behind. Like
the DMs are open now, Maddie.
Right as the game ended, he's like, hey, look at this.
Maddie's in the bullpen. He's like, hey, Winslow about to switch it here. Put that on Twitter, Andrew.
Yeah. Hey, if somebody's open to that, and don't let Forbes find out, we're all for it. But he was moving okay. I actually went back and watched the clip that she had sent me that screenshot from. He's moving okay, so maybe it's just a sprained ankle, and maybe he's back this weekend. He may be out, a week or two. But I don't think it's anything to be too concerned about, but definitely something to monitor.
So where'd you get that from about that it's a minor or
no,
is that just your assumption?
I'm guessing. I'm thinking just because the way he was moving when I went back and watched the post-game handshake clip, he was moving good, even in the boot. So I'm guessing it may just be like he tweaked his ankle and they're holding him out for a little bit. But again, I thought Caleb Wilson's was minor too, and here he's still out. So I don't know.
Look, Rev's getting his own floor tonight. We're just going through his questions. See, look, this is how we roll at Hills on Dime. You got questions, you got 10 of them, send them. I'm just kidding. But just don't send them to Andrews. But anyway.
Yeah, because I won't see it. I'm gonna check that tonight. I'll check it.
He's gonna check it tonight. He just had a couple of comments about Lynch's two-seam. Will give him some control concerns potentially. That thing is a wiffle ball. That's what he said. So and then he also said, which I definitely agree here too. I mean, I think any team, I think even, coach would probably agree with this. Overall, going into conference, I'm interested to see the offense against first-class arms. We took it to ECU and their ace to begin out, but then got, took to the woodshed the next game. Would have liked to seen one other P4 team in February. I mean, I agree. I mean, you saw two. Well, ECU's not a P4 team. I mean, their baseball team is, I guess you could say, to that.
They
caliber.
might as well be, yeah.
Yeah, they're a baseball team, right? But I mean, I think seeing two teams like that is about par for the course. I feel like, what I'd like to see maybe a midweek game against a P4. Yeah. But I mean, what's been great too with some of these games that we've gotten the opportunity to get some of these very talented freshmen some play, which could reap rewards down the line if injuries pop up or things like that. But what we don't want to happen is we don't want things to snowball like a Schaffner injury, right? And then an Olin Johnson injury. And when it comes to injuries like this, it could just linger and linger. You just kind of never know. So hopefully we can get them back and keep it pumping. Let me check this really quick. I got somebody.
So I did go back and look at last year's schedule. So they started off with Texas Tech. So similar to kind of starting off with Indiana, like we did this year. Then midweek against Kansas State. Then the ECU series, the typical, road, neutral, home. But then they had a game against VCU, and then they had a couple easy midweek games. But then they had a series against Stony Brook, and that's Eric Paulson's old team. And then right before conference play, they had a midweek with Coastal. So I'm kind of surprised. We talked about this, I think, the second episode, how late the Coastal game is this year. Normally, that is a game that's before your first ACC game. So that game being as late as it is this year is a little odd to me.
Who's our midweek game next week?
Oh, man, if you didn't ask me, I could tell you.
Rev probably knows it. I can tell you right now.
I don't know. I know this, though. And this is me just griping.
Bucknell.
But we have a midweek game on
Bucknell.
It's Wednesday. Bucknell, that's right. We have a midweek game against UNCG on March 18th. All right. And here's my problem. Whoever does the promos for Carolina, I got a bone to pick with you because that is dollar hot dog night. Why are we doing a dollar hot dog night on a Wednesday night game or not night at 4:00? I got work. I can't be there. How am I going to put down 12? I drop $12 and get me 12 hot dogs. That rubbed me the wrong way. So whoever does promos for Carolina, I know it may cost you a little bit of extra money, but next year do dollar dog night on a Saturday.
I think it'd be a lot more than a little money.
I think so too.
But that's why they put it on Wednesday. They're trying to entice the hot dog lovers out there. And I have to tell. Every time hot dogs are brought up, I have to tell this story. Definitely when they throw them out. We were at the women's basketball game one time and they did the hot dog toss. Trevor, I think I told you this last night at the basketball game. They went to throw the hot dog out and it came out of the package. The bun went one way and the dog went the other way and they landed in two different sections. I just thought that was kind of funny.
Here's my question. If that hits you or if you catch the bun or the hot dog, are you still eating it?
No,
walking around looking for the guy with the hot dog, right?
I'm probably gonna go get me some ketchup or some mustard and put on the bun and just eat that. Hey,
if you catch the bun, go find the guy or the other lady that's got the hot dog and say, look, you put it, give me the hot dog. I'll put it in the bun. We'll split it.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, another side convo of Hills on the Diamond. All right, let's get to softball. Man, 18-1. Trevor, I'm gonna kick it to you to start off this. Let's sitting in 18-1, they were 17-1 coming in against Stetson tonight. Stetson, a very good team. Like I said, 14-6. They don't really, at their level, right? They don't really have a weakness. So I know that coach, talking to her in the coaches show, talking about a short week, with Stetson coming to town, they were going to have to get rid of that Sunday game rather quickly, and we're going to get into that very shortly. But Trevor, kind of give us the rundown of tonight. Again, another powerful performance. Coach said, she said, when we do the right things on our offense and we stick to our plan, we have one of the most powerful offenses. She didn't say this verbatim, but I'm just summing it up. We can hang with any pitching staff, basically, or team in the country. So, Trev,
Yeah,
kind of talk to me about this.
So before I go deep dive into tonight, I want to say I loved the show the other night, man. You guys killed it.
Yeah,
You did a very good job, Chris. That was good, man. And I'm looking forward to them throughout the year. And also your interview pitcher, name's forgetting me right
Lily
now.
Parrish.
Lily, yep. You guys, you're doing a good job, bro. I am. I'm looking forward to those. So, but yeah, looking at tonight, like you mentioned, Stetson came in 14-6. We took care of business, 112-4. The big thing with me, I don't want to go too crazy into just reading the numbers, but when you look at I'm going to pull it up here. You look at our team top to bottom, there was, the whole lineup was producing. You had Shania Thompson with 3 RBIs, setting the tone from the leadoff spot. Emily continues. What a huge addition she's been, right? Virginia Tech transfer. She has been unbelievable so far this year. She came in, 3 RBIs again on the night. You had Shelby Barbie drove in 3. MC, I believe she had 2 homers tonight. 3 RBIs, I want to say. But look at that. Hey,
let's go.
Chris. Look at that.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt, but I saw that a minute ago. I was like, man, that's awesome.
No, yeah. Carolina softball rolls up in the chat. You got to let us know, Andrew. They say, so is 5 homer game good? Asking for a friend. I feel like I know.
We literally talked about that last night, didn't we, Chris? That was the first thing I said when we first started talking about them.
But keep going there.
But I mean, that's the big thing for me, man. Like I mentioned, lineup doing it top to bottom. Everybody producing, and Emily, she is picking up where she is. I don't want to say left off, continuing to do what she's done all year, right? But this team is fun to watch, man. And the 5 homers, that was where I was going to go next. I literally brought it up to you last night, man. I believe they started off with a leadoff homer, and they've got some bats. So it's going to be – this is another one that I'm very intrigued to watch this weekend. It's going to be a good series for them playing.
Legette. I like that. Rev. But we got to find out who I'm interviewing next week. If it's Emily, I'm going to bring this up, see if she's already got a nickname. That's a good one. Carolina softball. Look, this is awesome. Who would have ever thought the day that we would be doing this and Carolina softball would be chatting us up? I'm not sure if there's a other program at Carolina that is this open with fans. I love it, man.
And shout out to them for reposting the interview, reposting the coach's corner. I mean, whoever it is, I don't know if it's Alex or whoever it is running their Twitter account. We appreciate the love you're throwing our way too.
Yeah. We're going to talk a little bit more of that in a little bit too. But I mean, just to go a little bit further in tonight's game, I mean, Frost, I believe, pitched tonight. It was, I mean, dude, 7-0 on the season for Kendall. Like, I don't know her nickname. I hope to find it out. I hope to sit down with her eventually, but like, every time she takes the mound, it feels like this year is frosting over in Chapel Hill. Like, I don't know. Was that funny or not? I just felt I
was laughing at the softball.
I was laughing at the comment too.
But I'll say it was for you. Yeah.
There you go. Okay, thanks. Andrew hadn't laughed at any of my jokes tonight, but yeah, top secret admin, you guessed correctly. But yeah, Kendall Frost, 7-0 on the year. I mean, she came in and did what she was supposed to do tonight. But I mean, like I said, that's my joke for her, man. Anytime she comes in, it's like she just puts the batters down.
The opposing bats go cold.
Yeah, I really want to sit with her, because I really want to sit with her and interview her and talk to her and have the opportunity, because I don't know if you notice when she pitches, she has this, like, when she gets done with her wind up and her stretch, like her full wind up and done getting the ball out of her hand, and it hits the catcher's mitt, and if it's a strike or a strikeout, she has like longer hair, right? She just flips that hair around aggressively, like I did what I was supposed to do, like every single time. It's bad A. I wasn't gonna say the word, but I'm not sure if I say that with Carolina softball in here, but it looks bad A when she does that. So Andrew, I'm gonna turn it over to you. Let's go a little bit deeper into Carolina softball and where they're at. And just so everybody knows, these notes were prepped before tonight. So we're just talking prior to tonight, really, other than what Trev just gave us.
Yeah, they went 2-1 against Boston College. Hey, it doesn't matter who you're playing in the ACC, as long as you win the series, that's huge. So regardless of that one loss, going 2-1 is huge. Game 1, they had some theatrics. They won 10-9. Yet again, Emily Legette walk-off RBI single. Sanaa had 3 hits. Reagan Jennings and Legette both had 2 hits. I was going back through today, and I was looking at the box scores for 8 or 9 of the games they've had so far this year. And if you I'm seeing that comment. If you look at their box scores, and look in the hits column, it's 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. I mean, almost everyone's getting hits. And really, really everyone is getting hits. It's not almost. So they continued that against Boston College. Game 2 was a 5-4, another walk-off win. It was a fielder's choice throwing error that got them the win. Legette hit another homer. She is currently, and again, these are, I went on the NCAA website, and I don't think they update it, but like maybe every few days. So this is a little bit behind.
And it's before tonight.
Yeah, before tonight too. But she currently ranks 9th. She's tied for 9th in the entire country in home runs, and she's 3rd in batting average. So we're not just talking here, this is Carolina's best player. We're talking here like this is ACC player of the year. If Carolina continues to really, go on a roll and win a lot of games, Emily Legette could be your ACC player of the year. And that is no hyperbole. That's the type of season she's having.
We're talking Triple Crown.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it is. If our special guest is in the chat, they can remind me, because I think they probably were on the team to create that graphic. But I think she's 5th. 5th, was ranked 5th best first baseman in the league right now, and in the league, but in the country. And then Shelby Barbie is 9th in the country for third base. So I mean that's good to see. I mean, I'm just overly proud of this team because there was a lot of discussion coming in, and I say a lot, probably a lot is a big word. And I talked to Coach about this. So if you missed that interview, look, go back and listen. Go back and listen to that. Just not for our sake, but for your sake, just to hear Coach Smith talk about this team. I mean, she's really good at talking about. I mean, of course, she's going to be good at talking about softball, but not every coach can talk well, right? And Coach Smith talks really well and just really brings it down to the normal fans level to where they can really understand it. And what I'm talking about, like the strength of schedule, is that, they control what they can control, right? There was some talk about, that on Twitter. Some guy commented when it was the first game of the Boston College series. Some person, I believe I followed them. They followed me on Twitter, and Carolina was losing like 5-2 or something like that. It was like a 4 or 3 run gap between the two. And there was still plenty of time left in the game. And it was like, this should calm a lot of wide-eyed Carolina fans down. I actually,
you're
honestly,
right. Yeah.
I honestly kind of got offended because I was like wide-eyed. Like, I mean, first of all, we're talking about it's the first game of the season. Like, it's, we talk about like anything can happen in baseball. It's the same as softball. Yeah. Why it's a 3-game series, right? And then Legette hits the walk-off. So I took that copy, that video, and just put it in that chat, right? So, but really what it goes back to, it's not about, yes, everything is funner when everybody's winning. But when it comes to, I'm starting to get a little, y'all know, Trevor, you definitely know I can get, because I haven't done it yet on Hills on Diamond. I don't feel like, is that it's for a program like softball, for a program like volleyball, for a program like an Olympic program, they do not get the spotlight and they do not get the resources that other teams get, right? And like I've talked to their SID in depth. I talked to they're limited to how many people when they go on the road. One person a lot of times is fulfilling the role of 3 or 4 people, right? And so sometimes, yes, it matters to win, but sometimes it's not all about winning. If they would have lost that first game, I'm going to continue to do what we're doing here at Hills on the Diamond, is giving them the deserved light that they deserve, because they are amazing athletes and they're here at Carolina, and they put that scripted Carolina and that interlocking NC on with pride, and they deserve the spotlight just as much as baseball, just as much as football. I mean, football's out here, how much invested into a program, and we saw what the result was. Yes, they bring in the cash flow, right? Like that's why Alabama has all these brand spanking new buildings around campus. So I get it from a revenue standpoint. But if it comes down to losing a game 1 or even a game 2 and losing that first series, you're still going to get the same passion from us. You know what I'm saying? Like
you're spot on. I mean, and I mentioned earlier, you look at the baseball team last year. They lost the first series of the season last year, ACC series, to a Stanford team that I think finished 1 game above 500 last year. It's baseball. It's softball. You're going to lose games. So just like we say, you can't look, too deep into a win streak, you can't look too deep into losses either. And I think, especially because, my work schedule, I'm not able to do a lot of the stuff during the days, but Chris, what you've done so far it's been fantastic. I've loved getting to know this team. I've loved seeing the back and forth with their Twitter account, man. And my goal is maybe one day we're doing this for everybody, for field hockey, for wrestling, for lacrosse, because like you said, these athletes put in that work. And just like the basketball team, the baseball team, the football team, they're getting up and doing those 5, 6 a.m. workouts. They're juggling, a full class or course load while going to practice, while going on the road, and they deserve every bit of love they're getting. So it's kudos to you.
And not just on the road, but now having to go all the way to California.
Yeah.
Because, certain ADs thought it was a great job or would be a good idea to add them in, and I know there were strategic reasons for that, but we don't have to get into that now. But it just, that comment just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And look, if that person's listening, feel free to shoot me a DM and we can talk about it. I'll take you to go out to coffee and let you hear the heart behind what we're doing. It's not all about wins and losses. It's about those that put on the jersey and the interlocking NC and deserve the right to be talked about. I mean, what this team is doing, yes, we are early in play. Yes, but a lot of these numbers that these women are hitting, like Emily Legette right now, Shelby Barbie, second on the team in home runs. Like, if this season ended, right, she would still be ranked fairly highly in home runs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she walked it off again to run Rule Stetson. So
even in the loss, she had 2 hits with the homer. So, I mean, even though they struggled a bit, in game 3 against BC, like, she's still putting up numbers.
Of course, we get Caleb in here.
Caleb, anytime we need a smile, we can always count on Caleb, right?
It wasn't Caleb. Caleb's a great guy. Not saying the other person wasn't a great guy, but he said if it was me, if you're buying, Caleb, look, if you're in the Chapel Hill area and you want to get some coffee, I think Andrew and Trev can speak to it. That I will do that with you.
Yeah.
Rev said, I think that's why Carolina is so special, though. It's a department. I never feel like these sports are second class. Totally. Yep.
I'll say one thing, man. I told you earlier, Chris, I don't know if I've already mentioned this tonight, but you guys are my go-to spot, obviously, for UNC softball and UNC baseball. And so I was like, man, I got to do it. I've already watched the prior episodes of softball. I need more. I need more info. Where am I going to go? And I'm like, oh, shoot, I'm on the show tonight. I can't watch them. I got to talk about them tonight, right? But man, it's good to see, Chris. And kudos to you, man. You're, like I mentioned a little bit already, you're doing a really good job, and I love what you're doing, man. There's a reason you've spoke from the heart since we first started on the tar pit, and what your vision was and what you wanted to do with UNC and helping it grow. And when you talk about it, man, the Carolina family, it's really the Carolina family, right? So I love it, man. And you talk about softball, and this is where I was going to go with it. I didn't realize, you talk about if you did lose that first game, they play a lot of freaking games. It's a long season, guys. It's a long season. So
You're going to lose games. It's going to happen.
yeah, it's going to happen. But they're off to obviously an unbelievable start. So we hope it continues.
And I'll say too,
Go ahead.
you know, having, you know, my mindset's different now that I have a daughter. I know Chris, you have a daughter. I know Trev, you have kids. I'm not sure if you have a daughter or not.
He does.
Okay.
Got two.
Okay. Yeah. So I think we all can relate to this. Like these softball players, you know, maybe down the road, women's lacrosse, they need this publicity. They need this attention, because I want to be able, my daughter's only 4. She doesn't understand now, but when she's 8, 9, 10 years old and she's getting into softball or getting into field, whatever the sport may be, I want to say, hey, watch this interview, watch the way, you know, she carries herself, or how she talks about dealing with, you know, struggles on and off the field. Right. So as someone who's trying to raise a young daughter who I want to be independent and be able to you know, find her voice, man, this is huge. And so this is for me, this is beyond just, oh, I'm a Carolina fan and alum. For me, this is, man, I want to be able to show this to my daughter one day. You know, she comes to me and says, Dad, hey, I want to play softball.
Yeah, good stuff, Andrew. And I'll just speak to, like, you know, everything that we do, I tell it to the guys, I feel like all the time, is that, you know, everything that we do, I want it to be with intention. And, you know, and so, you know, going there and having that time with Lily Parrish, you know, one of the questions I asked towards the end is, what type of legacy do you want to leave at Carolina? What type of player do you want to be remembered as? And then most importantly, if there is a little girl, you know, if there's a girl listening to this interview, or a younger softball player that wants to strive to be at your level one day, what's one thing that you would tell them? And giving her the opportunity to speak that into another player, whether 100 people tune in or 200 people tune in, right? That doesn't, yes, it does matter to me, right? I hope that more people tune in. But if one girl be able to hear that message, the work was done for me in that interview, right? And so, you know, one thing I just wanted to share, because we're going to talk about, you know, their weekend that they have coming up, is that, you know, y'all, thank you so much, Trev and Andrew, for saying that I'm doing a good job. I appreciate that. And I'd already planned to talk about this tonight, and just as much that you tell me thank you and that I'm doing a good job, like, I'm super humbled to have that we have the opportunity that Carolina softball said yes to us. Because I met with them and I felt like it was a long shot. And like I've told y'all from the beginning, that everything that we do, yes, we talk about box scores and we break down plays on the Tar Pit podcast. But if you go back and look from day one, our number one focus was to sit down with commits. Like, if you go like I said, everything we do with intention. So like when we do a game day graphic and we put the player's name and position up there and we tag them in, like athlete spotlight, like there's an intention behind that. So you will click that, follow them, so their numbers grow on social. So it leads to further better chances of NIL. Because I know a little bit about how that's done, right? You know, when they look at that, they'll look at your social media followers, and then they put you in a bracket of how much basically your social account is worth for you to be paid. So that's all done with intention to help them out. So, you know, thank you to Carolina softball, to Alex Funderburk. I found out that his nickname is Fundy, and I can definitely see that. He's just an amazing human being, and it's been an honor to get to know him. Hopefully he's going to text me if he's the special person. I believe he is, as Carolina softball is.
He is. Yeah, he said it a little bit earlier.
Okay, is going to text me maybe tonight or tomorrow to let me know who I'm interviewing on Monday. I'm looking forward to that. You know, so like that coach said yes to us. You know, it's a huge honor, and not only that, but like I told you guys a year ago, that we just needed a shot. Like, we just need, damn, I'm gonna get emotional. Sorry. Like, because we pour our heart and soul to this, like the hours of time that we work on this stuff, is that like we just needed a shot. Because like, speaking openly, we've asked for credentials for football and didn't work out this year. We're striving for it for next year. And I get it. Like, it was in the middle of the season, so it's probably too late. But to have the opportunity to do with this in Carolina softball has just been a dream come true, really, for me, for Troy, for Trevor, for Andrew. And it's not going to just be me. We're going to get some of these other guys involved. Trevor, I believe, is going to be coming with me on Monday to meet Alex. I haven't told Alex that. So if you're listening, Trevor is me coming on Monday to meet you so he can sit down in the future and do some interviews as well. So it goes so much further than a box score. And at the end of the day, man, these are people, and their stories deserve to be told. So we'll see. What did Carolina say here? Bring her out to a game. I got 26 friends that would love to meet her.
Heck yeah.
And that's what Alex told me. He's like, hey, if your kid comes tonight, she can meet all the players after the game. And so, look, if you have kids, look, young girls or even boys, they're a heck of a fun time. All the chants. It was so cool to see. There was this little girl by the dugout. She was like, she knew all the chants that the team was doing. And she was just there, like, because I talked to her parents for a little bit and told her that we were starting the podcast around Carolina softball. And they were like, thank you. We've been looking for a spot to learn more about the softball team. And they've just been so amazing to her. And so, but yeah, so if you're in town this weekend and you're considering going to a baseball or a softball game, maybe skip the baseball game this weekend. There's 3 of them. So maybe you can go to one and then go to the other one a different time.
You can DVR it.
Or you can
if that's even a thing anymore. Yeah.
Sometimes they start between 2-hour differences. So you can split a game. I actually thought about doing that Sunday. Sunday, I think they both start at 12, if I'm not mistaken. But there was one day that my wife and kid are off doing something with like a play date. And I was like, oh, okay, they start at different times. So I thought about taking my e-bike and splitting the game and just parking in one location. Like I was like thinking about this. How can I maximize time?
I want to see you do that. You got to do that one day now.
but yeah, man, I'm gonna I'm planning to be there Friday for Carolina softball. Big series coming up this weekend. Just as much as it is for baseball, this is a big opportunity for softball this weekend. Both teams are taking on UVA. Softball this Friday night, the weather is going to be beautiful. I mean, this is baseball and softball weather to a T. 6 p.m. Come out, get you a cola, get you some popcorn, get you whatever it is, hot dogs. They don't have funnel cakes, unfortunately. Andrew don't have to worry about that. And then Saturday at 1 and then Sunday at 12. Look, come on out, because the more people to come out, hopefully one day we can get Carolina softball selling Nike merchandise to fans.
Heck yeah.
Because I'll mention this briefly. If you go to a game, and this is not the administration of Carolina softball and the coaches, their fault. This is people above them, right? And I shouldn't say fault, right? But you can't get Nike gear at there. It's not even Champion gear. It's like a different type of brand that I've never heard of in Carolina softball. In my opinion, that's just not right. But I did find me a softball shirt, and I was wearing it for the coaches show. It was a Nike one. Alex, I think he's listening. I found it. I found it at the student store, and I grabbed it right from the get-go. I was like, nope, that's definitely leaving with me. Let's get to a few comments here. Carolina softball said, bring her out to a game. Got 26 friends. Caleb said, you fellas have a bigger reach than you know. Appreciate that, Caleb. We sometimes after shows we do kind of wonder, like, are we doing the right thing? But what do you say, Trev?
No, Andrew. I think Andrew.
Yeah. So I see Revs. He's been on it in the chat. But maybe this is why my DMs are closed, because these are fighting words right here. Chris, you know how much I love Disney. So like,
oh gosh, yes,
man. That's my man. I go to Disney at least once or twice a year. That's my spot. It's
expensive,
but that's my spot.
I'm going in April, so I'm gonna need all.
I can give you all the recommendations.
There we go.
Yeah, look, Alex, the SID over there at Carolina softball says, can't wait to meet you on Monday with a salute.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it, Alex.
Hey, any last thought? Well, look, I'll get my last thoughts, and I'll let you guys get your last thoughts. We had hoped to be done at hour and 10, but we went off a little. I think a much needed. I wouldn't say a crash out, but a much needed moment of why we do what we do. right? There's other podcasters out there that do what they do, and they do great at that. Yes, we love to break down a game of football when Bryn comes on, when JJ comes on. Like, you get Bryn on and talk about the interlock and NC, you can go a lot longer than I've gone, right? But I feel like this has been a much needed like healing circle for me. Like, because some people I felt like been like, why are you doing this? Right. Well, and I got the opportunity to kind of, and y'all did too, to speak to that. Look, I want to mention before I pass it off to Andrew and Trevor for last words tonight is Coach's Corner. Look, if you have the opportunity, you need to hear Coach speak. She's phenomenal. Like so much worth of information. Also, kind of like telling the story at heart. And I think Trevor and Andrew would agree with this. Andrew just joined this year, so definitely Trevor. That at the heart, Hills on Franklin, Tar Pit Podcast, and what we do here at Hills on Diamond. At the heart, yes, like I said, we do love the box score, breaking down plays, but we love to be storytellers, right? Telling the stories behind Carolina. And so what we also do in the Coach's Corner, after we talk about recapping some games and we talked about strength of schedule. So that was a good time that I got to be able to ask that question. And then we, previewed, Stetson and then also UVA. And she talked about UVA. I would definitely encourage y'all to go and listen to that. A wealth of information, a lot more than we did tonight, of course. The UVA is a very strong team. They've always been a very good pitching team, good defensive team. And over the past few years, their bats have just called up to that. They don't really have a weak spot. So this is a big opportunity for Carolina softball this weekend. So if you have the opportunity, come out. But at the end, we do 2 player spotlights. And over the year, we're just working our way through the roster. And I don't pick, like, I haven't even done Emily Legette, like, right? I picked a freshman, Sahara Wilson, which is a freshman, local kid. We talked about her, and I'm going to post those too as previous. I'm going to post those as individual videos so people can learn about the roster throughout the year. But it's every first and third Monday at 8 p.m. They're pre-recorded. I record them during the day, and then you'll be able to find them. They're pre-recorded lives on YouTube and X at 8 o'clock, and then you'll be able to find it on Spotify the next day. Carolina softball says pull up and be loud. Also, Alex is an Orlando native, so if you need suggestions, let him know. Alex also went to UCF, by the way, if anybody needs to know. So I wonder if he was cheering for Carolina football or UCF football. That's a good question. He'll probably let us know in the chat. But anyway, Trev, Andrew, whoever wants it.
Go ahead, Trevor.
I'll say it was an honor being with you boys tonight. We went an hour and 40 minutes, but it didn't feel like it, to be honest. We were having, I love talking ball. Anytime I can normally it's football for me, but anytime I can talk ball, I love it. Big series this weekend for both the Diamond Hills, softball and baseball. Like Carolina softball said here, pull up, be loud, support these guys. Rooting for a paycheck. I like it.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, get out. It's going to be perfect weather. Support these teams, support these athletes. That's all I got.
Andrew.
Yeah, I feel like I say this every week, but like they've already touched on, show up, be loud. We need people in the Bosch. We need people there at the softball games. This is not just a baseball podcast. This is baseball and softball. Show up, be loud. You got time to make it home before the basketball game. But share this out. Share this on Twitter. Share if you got a Carolina family member that's a huge Carolina fan, send them the link. Not for us, but just to get these stories out. Chris, I like the way you put that. The reason I went to journalism school at Carolina, the main reason I said, hey, I want to be a journalism major, was because I like telling stories, man. I want to be a storyteller. I like to learn about people, get their stories out there. And this is how we're doing this. So don't share this for us. I mean, we're appreciative. Don't get me wrong, but share it for, the base. You don't know how many baseball players are reposting and retweeting, some of our stuff and liking our stuff. They're seeing it. And then obviously we know softball's seeing it. So just share it because they need all the attention they can get.
Hey, I mean, you had a parent come up to you last weekend too, right?
Yeah. Shout out Cooper Nicholson's dad. I didn't know who he was. And we talked for about a minute before I made the connection with the last name. But yeah, so it's awesome.
I got one thing before we close out I wanted to add. I forgot to add, boys. How about Vance Honeycutt start the spring training?
I'm glad
Look
you
at
brought
you.
that
How
up.
about that?
I wrote it down. Forgot to
There
mention
we
it.
go. Great minds think alike. What? I don't know if he got another at bat in the game. I saw the 4th at bat today. He hit another homer, 4 for 4 with 4 homers to start his spring. So he's killing it.
And he really struggled last year.
Mhm.
So just for confidence purposes, this is great for him. Now he won't be on the opening day roster, but just for him to be at spring training, getting those at bats and going 4 for 4 with 4 homers, like that's got to do wonders for him as we head into the regular season.
Yeah, good stuff. I'd love to see Vance this week. Cut down the strikeout percentages, not to take it to a bad level, but I mean that's great. 4 for 4. 4 home runs, right? Going into this year for back into the minors, I would like to see him, cut down on that strikeout percentage, and just get some good at bats in so he can get to the next level. But I mean, look, he's always represented Carolina well, so
Yeah.
A legend for sure. So, look, Andrew's already said it. Share it out. So I'm not going to do that part. But look, if you missed tonight's, well, you're not missing it that you're here, right? But if you ever miss an episode, do know you can always catch them over on Spotify. And look, I want to say a big thanks to everybody. It was last week I had said, if you're listening to this and you're not subscribed on YouTube, please go subscribe. We were sitting at 1,000 and it was killing my OCD because I was scared that someone was going to unsubscribe just to mess with me. And we were going to be back at 9.99. And just to let you know how big of a deal that was for us. I believe it was back in late May. We were sitting at 67 subscribers. So shout out to all you guys that supports the work that we do. One week we should time how much time we spend doing this stuff, man, because we love Carolina. We just want the interlocking NC, the story to be told, and this university to be represented well. So like Andrew said, do us a favor, share it out. If you're not subscribed on YouTube, be sure to go ahead and do it. One last thought too. We just started a TikTok. I'm not a big TikToker. I mean, the Tar Pit TikTok's got 3,200 followers, which is pretty good. I'd say
That's good.
Yeah,
pretty solid.
after
Look,
1 year, right?
After 1 year. Look, Hills on Franklin though is 5 days new, 5 days fresh, and we got a good old 10 followers.
This is the first I'm hearing about this. I need to go. Look, I love to scroll TikTok. So
okay.
I need to go follow.
Hey, you're gonna follow it and then see your face on it. So that's kind of funny.
Okay. That's okay.
I've been putting your reels up there. So it was giving me a little trouble in the beginning. I'd started it and then I would go on my personal and follow it. And then I'd go back to Hills on Franklin and would say it won't follow. And then I go back to my personal and it would say I wasn't following it. I don't know what was going on. It took
maybe click it 2 or 3 times. Make sure you're following it.
So it took 3 or 4 days for it to get the wrinkles out of it. But it's I was about to say it's popping. It's not popping, but it's got 10 followers. So do us a favor, go over there and follow that. But anyway, look, we love Carolina. We hope you love Carolina as much as we do. We'll hope to see some of you guys this weekend at a softball game or a Carolina game. If you're there and you're snapping some pictures, shoot them over to us, DM us, and just say you can share these. Just give us that approval. We got to see that in writing that you approve us to share these, and we'll share them out on our socials and tag you in. We always love seeing photos of Anderson and the Bosch, just beautiful places. Definitely this weekend with the weather that's going to be. So look, like we always do, it's until next time. Go Heels.
Go Heels.
Go Heels.
Thank you for listening to Heels on the Diamond, presented by Heels on Franklin. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to like it, drop a comment, and share it with another Carolina fan. That support goes a long way as we continue to grow. You can find all episodes of Heels on the Diamond on the Heels on Franklin YouTube channel and on Spotify. So whether you like watching or listening, we've got you covered. If you're looking for Carolina football coverage, be sure to check out the Tar Pit podcast, which you can also find on the Heels on Franklin YouTube channel and on Spotify. You can also find us on X, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search Heels on Franklin and you're in. Until next time, go Heels.